All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. And we're back here in the GVC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more about that, pinned video, pinned post, home video, wherever, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So over on the left side here, well, we got FSIC, kind of a graph in white. Over on the left, the highest intent peeps search on Google, search on social media, social search for the highest, or for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. So we focus on those peeps. We make our videos about BSS. And wherever on the right, the lowest intent peeps, the only way to reach them is interruption ads via Facebook, Instagram. They ain't searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now, and most of them don't even know what boudoir is. So that's what we talk about over on our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS, and over there right now, we currently only work with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, so now into BSS, boudoir search sameness. So this when a boudoir photographer has either zero or one slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots is bad, that's a fast death, that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are one and done. So we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2, which means we're going to be dying a fast death. One slot on page 1 is not good enough either, because there's 10 organic slots page 1. So that means there's 9 other, could be 9 other boudoir photographers. Everyone else has one slot. So everyone else looks the same. Everyone else has one slot. Buyers simply, approximately 80% of buyers. So we got to click down everyone, every link on page 1. They're never even going to go to page 2 or anything deeper. But for the 10 that are there, they'll contact everyone, get quotes, price shop everyone, negotiate, stall, delay, blah, blah, blah. Just annoying way to run a business dealing with this. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes, one, are market saturation, which basically everyone knows about, people get a new iPhone, new phones, new cameras, new gear. They're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they now for boudoir. They are, throwing up their website saying that for boudoir, competing with us page 1 on Google search, posting in mom groups now from boudoir. This basically lowers margins for everyone, lowers price for everyone, decreases the probability, that anyone gets any buyers because it's more sellers, boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers. Makes it harder for every single seller. And there's a big blast of this COVID. Ton of new boudoir photographers enter the market because everyone lost their jobs, had to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone, super powered camera, so pretty easy kind of to see why that happened. Now, second, actually the biggest thing, which I've seen is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, is the false belief of page 1 equality. And the false belief of page 1 equality, it's kind of like the automatic belief boudoir photographers have had is that, every boudoir photographer gets 0 1 slots page 1 on Google. So if your website ranks there, cool. And maybe you had it there and somebody else came and ranked their website ranked higher on Google page 1, took you down to push you out to page 2, and with the photographers are like, well, yeah, I'm on page 2 now, I guess I gotta hope they delete their website and Google de-indexes them, so that hopefully Google can put me back on page 1. But no, this is 100% a false belief. It's 100% incorrect, and I know this because I myself went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days using our new methodology we developed. So I know Google will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. 100%. I know that is true, which makes the false belief of page 1 equality false. Now, we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer. That's because, if we got 0 slots page 1 on Google, we're only on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of Google searches. Yeah, we're disappearing and fast. Same if we only got 1 slot on page 1. We're still basically invincible, being price shopped to death. We're getting contact form fill outs, but price shops, people gotta, they gotta save up for it. We know they never buy in. And as a result, both these are kind of a signal. Well, BSS, it's the signal. It's what makes us a disappearing boudoir photographer. But BSS itself is the signal that, the check engine light, the warning light that We're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which means our business is on the path itself to disappearing. That's what that means. But we did finally discover a solution. We discovered it because we invented it. So we discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And we invented this, and it works exactly as it says, S cubed methodology. Social search saturation. We're saturating social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in our city. So we show up there. It's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains on the backside, the eastern side in South America. So what happens with that snow is it melts, goes into small streams, small rivers, and eventually across the whole mountain range. It all actually flows to the Amazon River, which is the Amazon River is Google page 1. But we got to get our snow up top the mountains first. That's our social search saturation. And so when we rank there, get enough ranking there, then eventually flow onto Google page 1. Now, one of the interesting things is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight back against market saturation and allow a boudoir photographer to grow their business even with more boudoir photographers entering the market every single day in a relatively quick time frame. And the only other solution I've seen that has a few of these properties is to actually have a large, well-known brand. That would definitely persist with market saturation. But dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. That's not relatively quick. We ain't got time anymore. AI's coming to take more people's jobs every single day. We got to get page 1 domination, page 1 visibility ASAP. And so actually an interesting thing is my estimate is I believe S-cube methodology actually executing it increase the probability of having a large well-known brand by speeds it up by my estimate is 8x. So 8 times faster to achieve that. And imagine if you got a large well-known brand and you're using S-cube methodology. I mean, you're basically untouchable at that point. Now, for example, if S-cube methodology successfully grown a business in spite of more and more market saturation or massive market saturation, imagine, let's say there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Fargo, North Dakota. We're one of them. Everyone's got a boudoir photography website trying to rank page 1 on Google. You know, there's only 10 organic slots for 1 million boudoir photographers, so ultra competitive. And we don't have enough time to build a brand, so our only hope, our only solution is S-cubed methodology. And as a result, you know, we realize, hey, man, we got to crank this up to the max. So we do S-cubed methodology, we crank it up to the max. And let's say we're getting like we take over the first 300 slots of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. Take up those slots, and when we, as a result, let's say it flows onto Google, and say we're taking the first 300 Google organic slots as well for high intent boudoir buyer search. And what actually happens is Google search is 10 organic slots per page. So dude, we're taking like the first 30 pages of Google. So let's say we do that, and guess what? Anytime any boudoir buyer in our city is searching on social networks or in Google, then what actually happens is we're basically the only one they see across all surfaces. You know, I mean, if they want to find us an organic search result, we're basically the first 300. They got to go page like 31 to basically see any of our competitors. And approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Who the heck's going to page 31? So you can see how powerful this is. So obviously in this situation, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is stalling, dying, disappearing? You know, the 999,999 other boudoir photographers who are competing, but no searchers can find them. And so this is what the magic of S-cube methodology can enable. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility. Get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Get our second initial benefit is every new slot we get, we actually kick off a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is super awesome. A lot of boudoir photographers feel like this is actually their benefit they like the best. Making other boudoir photographers disappear, become disappearing boudoir photographers on page 2, maybe on page 3, you know, and eventually those competitors' businesses disappear. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So this is where the GBC universe recommends hitting 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google search. And that's because basically everyone else will be 1 out of 10 slots. So we're going to be dominating all of them, looking totally different from all the others, really catching buyers' eyes because they're seeing our name so much. And if the off rare chance someone else has 2 slots, page 1 on Google, then we're still dominating them. And finally, we know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. But we now have a solution. We can utilize S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, looking at my results here, utilizing S-cubed methodology for myself. I went to rank for the term BLCS boudoir and take as much page one slots as possible. So let's see the results I got by exclusively using S-cubed methodology. Let's get organic slot one here, Instagram. That's me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And as a result, found from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So these are the results that I got. All right, now to our main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for local Washington, D.C. Well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to D.C. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself, and you saw that you do have BSS, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, and or you also did that same search, city search, for yourself, and you may have had BSS for your city, or you may have not have hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for your city page 1 on Google. So you see you got BSS as it stands right now. You also understand the market saturation, a new phone, new camera, 2 prongs, but you understand this third prong, which is AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. So not only do you want to fortify, to basically compete with the current boudoir photographers using S-cubed methodology as your preferred solution, to kind of get more slots on page 1, kick more people off page 1 currently. But you see, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market because of AI, because of people losing their jobs. And everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera. So you recognize you need to actually additionally fortify your position from the future boudoir photographers, that it's going to be more and more over time as more and more people lose their jobs, because again, everyone's got a great camera on their smartphone. Easy to throw Google My Business Profile on a website saying they offer boudoir shoots now. And you want to make sure those people, those new peeps, never even get on page 1 of Google to prevent people from finding them and price shopping you against them. And you understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. You do not have to accept either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. Google will actually give us as many slots on page 1 as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So as a result of that, you're seeing S-cubed methodology, like, heck yeah, dude, I don't have a decade to build a brand. I need results much faster, which S-cubed methodology can provide results way faster in building a brand. It also it helps accelerate having a brand as well. That's kind of one of the back-end bonuses of that. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility. And you want all that because you know you need it on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also want the 2 unspoken back-end benefits, where the more we execute S-cubed methodology, we're kind of like building up these thematic keyword columns around our social media usernames, our website, our brand, our name. And as we build those thematic keyword columns up, it's invisible, but it increased the probability AI brains recommend us here for Google AI overviews. Premium placement right at the top, way above everyone. Every day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly, we increase the probability going to be shown in the AI overview. And also, we're increasing the probability the other AI search options are recommending us in their search. So that's ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Building up these thematic keyword columns, kind of like spokes on a wheel or spokes on a hub. Our hub is our business name, all our social accounts. We're building up this invisible kind of AI brain mindshare, invisible momentum that only AI can see and pull from to be recommended. And the last time I did, I searched for boudoir photographers in a city. The city had like 60 when I went and looked manually, but ChatGPT search only recommended 3. So we're going to increase the probability we get that by successfully utilizing S-cubed methodology. And the final thing on the back end is you want to be a first mover on this because you see, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. And so you're saying, man, you can get the current benefits, more slots on page 1, and kick off current boudoir photographers from page 1, make them visible page 2 and deeper, and fortify yourself against future boudoir photographers coming into the market from losing their jobs via AI, and the back-end mindshare of AI overview for Google and AI default search by being early adopter, working with me first in your city, and crowd out all your other competitors from working with me. Because again, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. And you also see, if your competitor instead jumps in with me first, then you'll actually have to re-engineer S-cubed methodology somehow, recreate it, rederive it somehow, do all that testing, and you'll never be 100% confident you've rederived it correctly. But so you'd have to take all the time to rederive it or derive it for yourself the first time, and then go execute and implement it, while me and your competitor have already made a massive gap ahead of you. And if you executed the same S-cubed methodology as us every day, you would simply maintain the gap. You would have to literally outwork us 2 or 3x every single day to make up the space, make up that gap, and actually make progress, pull the thematic keyword column momentum from your competitor's brand over to your brand. And, dude, who's got that much time in the day? Who has that much time? So you realize, screw that. You'd rather simply be first one early mover of your city to kick out all your competitors from using this against you. And obviously I'll, get all these benefits we talked about already. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are currently closed. New patient intake at the hospital is currently closed. So watch these videos. Wait for when I do open up the hospital, open up the new patient intake, and then shoot me a DM, and we'll see if you qualify to use S-cubed methodology.